Have you ever wondered what happens to your RPG party when you defeat the final boss and put the game away? The simple explanation is that nothing happens because these are virtual characters who live only when the console or PC is turned on. But according to Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, there is much more to discuss. It is a fantasy manga written by Yamada Kaneshito and illustrated by Abe Sukosa that arrived on Japanese shelves earlier this year. In Italy, however, it arrived in October thanks to J-pop, and immediately struck readers with its intriguing premise and unique interpretation of one of the most beloved genres of all time. Let's find out more together in this first volume review. Frieren, Beyond Journey's End takes place in a conventional fantasy realm and follows a group of oddball adventurers after they fight the Demon King. It does it specifically through the perspective of Frieren, an elf with an extraordinarily long life. As a result, the opening of this novel does not tell of an exciting adventure to battle evil, but of its conclusion. The hero and his trusted companions return home, lauded by the people of the various districts, and it is here that we will meet Himmel the hero, Eisen the warrior, and Haita the priest, who, after 1,000 efforts, have achieved the hard-earned victory required to live out the rest of their days in relative peace and quiet. This does not apply to Frieren the witch because of her immortal destiny. The 10 years it needed to complete the accomplishment are but a speck in the vast ocean of her life. The concept of an elf who feels disconnected from the other human characters due to her extraordinarily long lifetime is not new. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, in particular, sees Legolas grow and develop from a cold and indifferent warrior to a more jovial character as a result of his experiences. But elves are portrayed as cold, detached, and disinterested in the petty affairs of human mortals in traditional folklore, from which Tolkien drew inspiration. Frieren belongs to this group of fascinating creatures, yet she is also utterly unique and shockingly intriguing. The answer may be very philosophical, but after all, it symbolizes the essence of the first volume and, without a doubt, of all the volumes to follow. Time has always been a term that is both entertaining and sad at times. Although we can define it objectively, each person feels it in a completely subjective way. When we have new experiences, time appears to lengthen, and when we perform the same thing again and over, time appears to shrink. Time may also appear faster or slower depending on one's age. So, for an elf with an extremely long lifetime, everything seems to happen in a split second. As a result, her outlook on life is vastly different from that of a human. He has no qualms about spending 6 years deciphering a book of spells or 3 years searching for a single flower. This is the kind of tolerance that comes with age, and Frieren is truly rather old, though the first volume does not specify how many. As a result, the initial chapters of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End pose numerous questions to the reader concerning the significance of life and the meanings that might be given to it. In truth, the world has changed since the King of Demons was slain many years ago, and many men have had to say farewell to life. Time hasn't stood still, but Frieren is the only one who hasn't changed, remaining the same little girl she was back then. What remains are the memories of that epic voyage, to which only she has remained a witness, and which she will thus choose to respect by embarking on a new journey, this time accompanied by the followers of her old colleagues. Beyond Journey's End, Frieren's first book, is without a doubt the best introduction to the work that could have been written. It also works as a standalone because the issues handled, character portrayal, and narrative finale are almost flawless. Indeed, in the first chapter, the protagonist realizes how unique she is and the mistakes she committed in the past that prevented her from getting to know her fellow explorers better. The majority of Chapter 2 is devoted to introducing an apprentice named Fern, and Chapter 3 looks to be an episodic panel. Then, in Chapter 4, Frieren announces that his purpose is to retrace the steps of his previous experience, before the memories fade. In other words, he's trying to appreciate what he is rather than his former coldness, and he's interested in character transformation right away. The artistic style of the characters is likewise unique and characterized. The diverse personalities are treated with a delicate but exact trait in every aspect. However, the female characters, particularly Frieren and Fern, stand out as particularly crisp and realistic. In terms of the environments in which the various events take place, Abe Sukosa has decided to show everything in order to immerse the reader exactly in the world he created with his colleague Kaneshito, rather than a partially hidden background to allow our imagination to run wild at specific points. In short, Frieren, Beyond the End of the Journey Volume 1 is a profoundly emotional and unforgettable experience, complete with a moral lesson as important as it is fundamental on the life and death of a loved one. Frieren is the infinite clock's hand who realized too late that she had missed significant moments of her infinite life and seeks to grant the final wishes of her friends while collecting spells and protecting Fern to atone for her faults in the past. As a result, this is not your typical fantasy manga, and we can't wait to read the next volumes to find out where the protagonist's life will lead.